welcome back to Sarah's Joyful Journey. I'm Sarah Joy. I wanted to wish you guys all a Merry Christmas. It is now the day after Christmas, so we're heading on very quickly to what is going to be 2024. So I'm trying to be very excited about 2024. I'm doing things a little bit differently than I normally do. You may hear Ghost in the background. He is in his crate with a chew. So we'll see. We're working on spending more time in the crate, and we're going to work on me being able to actually leave the house because we've had him now 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? I think it's 2.5 weeks. No, yeah. All right. Anyway, we've had him for a while, and I've lost track of all my time because I've been off work. But we're going to work on getting stuff for separation anxiety to prevent. We don't want separation anxiety to happen. He's doing very well with this training. We have some other things that we're going to focus on. This week we're really going to be focusing on the crate and his pin, because he has a little pin that he will be contained in while we're at work. So he'll have access to food and water, have toys, a bed. And I'm going to go ahead and pause and let him out because he's getting too barky. All right, so we got Ghost hooked up and his crate door open so he can come out when he's ready. He is very, very talkative. One thing we want to work on, hopefully, is getting him to sleep at night. He doesn't really sleep at night. This could be all my own doing, I realize, and he typically takes a nap around 6 to 7. And we try to go to bed about 8:39. So I don't think he's having enough stretch of a time of being active. So we're gonna try and either go to bed later, which I don't really wanna do because we have to wake up so early anyway. We're up by like 5 o'clock. I'll see if he wants to come over and say hi. Come here, buddy. Do you wanna say hi? Well, come here. Huh? Come on, you wanna say hi to people? So this little dude is getting chonky. Yeah, he's getting very big. He knows to sit and down and look at me very well. We still give lots of treats because he hasn't proofed those yet. That takes quite some time, but he's really good at it. We're working on stand. We're also going to work on me being able to leave the house this week. We still also need to work on our bath training because I have not yet given him a bath, and I don't want him to be scared of them. He's still very much a puppy and into baby shark mode. As you can see, he keeps putting my hands in his mouth. But he's a good little guy. He does have a lot of energy, a lot more than I thought, I guess. I don't know. It's interesting. But we're working on it. We're working through some things. He's going to be a fabulous dog. And I just need to keep that perspective that in order for him to be that fabulous dog, I need to put in the work and the effort now. That also reminds me very much of how our health journeys go. If we want to have the outcomes, we have to put in the hard work now. So that is kind of like my focus going into this next year is going to be continuing to put in the hard work. One thing that I just did, and I'll share, it's a little activity I did. I recently watched a video by Kelly Hogan, which she was talking about some of the new takeaways that she's really learned in the past year that she's applied to her life and has had some good results with. 2 of those really, really struck home with me. Kind of, sort of 3, but I'm gonna work on the 3rd one. I'll show you what that one is in a little bit, but I have some issues with it, which is a personal thing. All right, so the first one that really struck home with me was an activity that she kind of talked about that was inspired by a book. I'll see if I can link her video down below so you can go and watch it, because again, it's been several days, but I don't remember the book. But it was basically like a stoplight. You have red foods, you have your yellow foods, and you have your green foods. So I took the time to literally write them out on a list, and I am going to post this on the refrigerator, and I'll reevaluate from time. So red foods are those foods that are no-goes we need to avoid because they don't make us feel good, they don't promote optimal health. So on my list of no-go foods is, of course, sugar, carbs, grains, starchy veggies, heavy whipping cream is a no-no for me. And starting the first of the year, I'm going to try to 100% cut it out completely, which is sad because there's still some recipes I enjoy that have it in it, and I'll have to adjust those somehow. I don't do potato chips. I've also discovered in the past, since a couple weeks since I've been doing some keto baking and some other things like that, that Lily's chocolate chips, they impact my blood sugar a lot more than they should. It's not a huge spike, but I tend to stay, in the 90s to right around 100 is pretty average for me. I was getting up to the 130s, the 140s. And I think one time I got it to like 145. So it's still quite a spike. It's not a seriously dangerous spike or anything like that, but it's enough to make me realize that I cannot have it. So I have some in the cabinet. I had some this morning to go with my peppermint creamy that I had for breakfast, but it's going to be going to a friend, and I will not be buying them again, which unfortunately means no keto fudge, although I might buy it to make it as gifts next year or just to make treats because Matt still enjoys the fudge. It's also great for bringing to like a potluck type thing or something like that. So even non-keto people tend to enjoy that fudge. So it might appear for that, but I'm going to try to not do it at all. The other thing is going to be keto baked treats. I need to keep those in the no-go zone for now because I enjoy them and I can kind of moderate them, but not as well as I would like. And I still have 70 pounds to go minimum to my goal. It might be as much as 90. So I have a range that I want to be in. So I need to lose another 70, 90 pounds. Well, in order to get that done, not necessarily in this year, I need to focus on not having those keto treats. Not that they're bad for me, but they do create a roadblock or a stumbling block. Both of those are true, so I need to not do those. Seed oils, soy, I need to avoid soy whenever possible because it really does cause a lot of inflammation with my hands. On my no-go red foods, I've also put nuts and nut butters because I cannot moderate them. I will overeat them and overindulge in them. So they need to go on that list of the foods that I just don't eat because I can't moderate it. So that brings us down to the next section, which, is the yellow light, which means these are your cautionary foods. These are the foods that you can enjoy occasionally, but they shouldn't be the main source of your diet. So you can eat them sometimes. So on this list, I have cheese. I'm not entirely ready to cut out dairy, even though I'm going to cut out heavy cream and cheese for the month of January. I will keep butter. Butter in the past has not affected me, so butter will not be going anywhere. But I think cheese still kind of affects me. Not as much as heavy whipping cream, but I still need to have it on that cautionary list, and it may actually move to my red list. I will be evaluating this list as I go along. The other thing is keto chow. I know if I eat keto chow daily, it tends to stall my weight loss, which is not a problem, but I don't need to eat it daily. For me, I enjoy it mostly as a creamy or maybe as a hot chocolate. I enjoy cooking with it like chaffles and stuff like that. Those are all things that I don't eat regularly anyway. So it can go in my yellow category, which means I can enjoy it a couple times a week, once, maybe twice a week, but it needs to be not the bulk of my diet. I also put on here chicken wings. I love chicken wings, but chicken wings, especially when you get it with sauce, I tend not to be able to moderate. And depending on where I get the chicken wings from, they could be cooked in seed oils, which again is a no-go for me, and it could cause more inflammation. So I put that in my limited ones. So I can still have them, I can still enjoy them, but they are not going to be a regular daily occurrence, which they haven't been anyway. They've been pretty moderate. Sauces, like keto sauces, like buffalo sauce, dressings from Primal Kitchen, stuff like that needs to be in that keep it aside. That reminds me one other thing that I can put down in my good list. So let me do that before I forget. I also put down here non-starchy veggies. I know that veggies are great. Veggies can cause some issues for me sometimes, so I do tend to keep them better. I know when I feel best when I'm eating meats, eggs, bacon, stuff like that. So I put also on here like processed meat. So pepperoni, salami, all that kind of stuff are moderate. That would include like hot dogs and stuff. I enjoy them, but I want to keep them in moderation because I don't think they are the best for my overall health. Not that they're bad and that I can't have them, but I need to moderate them. They shouldn't be the bulk of my diet. They shouldn't be where most of my nutrition is coming from. I also put on here keto brick. Again, something that's already in moderation for me. It shouldn't be the bulk of my diet, and it never has been, it never will be. And spices. I do need to be careful sometimes with spices outside of salt, which I use mostly salt anyway, but I want to be careful with them, make sure I'm not overdoing them, because you can easily get too many carbs because there are carbs in your spices and stuff like that. So, but they are already in that category of that moderate, use occasionally. They're not the bulk of my food. So that brings us to my green foods, which these are the go-to foods, the foods that I should eat often, the foods that I can eat till I'm full and satisfied without having to feel guilty. So these are going to include things like bacon, eggs, lamb, beef, butter, salt, butter mayo, mustard, stuff like that. So like ruminant animals, that good wholesome meat. This makes up the bulk of my diet. Like making sure that I have hamburger patties and ground beef and all that kind of stuff. So while it's a short list, it's actually a really long list depending on what kind of cut of meat you get. But yes, ruminant animals and butter and bacon are my go-to. They're what I feel best when I'm eating. So I do have my handy little list ready to go, all divided out for me. So that I encourage you to do an activity like this. Sit down and spend some time thinking about, what foods don't work for you, what foods make you feel bad or you can show no control over, and make yourself a list and put it into perspective. Like, okay, what are the ones that bring me the greatest health? What foods can I enjoy in abundance so that when you go to make decisions, you know that those are the foods that you want to gravitate to, and you don't really have to control yourself with them unless you tend to really overeat. I don't, unless it's a food that needs to be moderated, like keto treats and potatoes and stuff like that. My no-go foods are the ones that need to be moderated. My go-to foods, I can eat and I don't tend to overeat, except maybe bacon, but not really. So I just can't make bacon the only part of my meal. It needs to be that side dish, but that's pretty good. So that was a fun activity that was inspired by Kelly Hogan. The other one that she talked about is she does more walking now, and that has really benefited her. I typically do between 8,000 and 10,000 steps a day when I'm working. I'm not there yet, and I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna get more movement in starting the first of the year, because I don't go back to work till the 12th. But my goal is I would like to get to about 20,000 steps a day. I really want to be active. Walking is my favorite activity. It is my favorite source of exercise, and I really want to bump that up. The other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working on my flexibility and my mobility. So I want to do some occasional like yoga, stretching, stuff like that. I still want to work on picking up heavy things. I don't really have weights at this point, which is fine, but I do want to work on that. So I am going to work on getting in more push-ups and more squats and more functional fitness type things into my daily routine. The third thing that she said that really inspired me is the one that's going to be difficult, because right now I kind of sort of have a food aversion to it, but she says she eats more fish, and I've often wanted to eat more fish. It's not that I don't like fish, but right now fish just doesn't. I've eaten a lot of tuna before, I've eaten a lot of salmon, I've eaten tilapia, which tilapia is a no-go for me. I could put that on my list, I probably should. I just don't, it's just kind of like, I don't think it's the best health promoting fish that there is out there for you, so that's why it's a no-go. But I like mahi-mahi, I love shrimp and stuff like that. I don't often buy seafood because it is kind of pricey. I love trout. I have the hardest time finding trout around here. Rainbow trout is delicious and would love to eat more of it. But fish in our area is hard to find and it's expensive. You can find a lot of salmon, but right now, for whatever reason, salmon does not taste good to me. It's not what my body's wanting. It's not what my body's craving. The same thing with tuna, and I love tuna. But it's kind of like, no, I just don't want to eat that. So I want to try to incorporate more fish, but I want to do it when I eat it and go, man, this is the best thing. I really, really like this. And right now it's kind of not there for me. So I will try to do it, but we'll see. So those are my plans going into the new year. Normally I'm one of these people who sets a huge amount of goals, and my goal this year is kind of sort of not really to have a goal. I do have some things in mind. Like I said, my 20,000 steps. I want to follow my food list, keeping those red foods out of my diet, limiting those yellow foods, and enjoying lots and lots of those green foods. And then increasing my movement, because that's all important for my health and my health journey going forward. I have no idea how much weight I want to lose this year, because I just don't want to put the pressure on myself to do it. I want to enjoy this process. I didn't become obese overnight. I'm not going to lose it overnight. I have done really well at maintaining about 80 pounds lost. I did lose a little bit more with medication, but once I came off that Mounjaro, I did gain about 10 pounds, is about where 10 to 12 pounds. I'm fluctuating in between there, but I've maintained that now for well over a month. So I'm not gaining anymore, but I'm not necessarily losing, but I've enjoyed a lot of those red foods recently. So I think getting those red foods out of my diet on a regular basis will help me be able to start moving back the direction that I want to go in. And I just want to keep the stress down. I find I don't do really well with stress. I don't do really well with pressure. And I do work in a high stress and high pressure environment, being at Disney, at least for me. I'm sure it is for other people too. I love it. I enjoy it. I enjoy my job. I love interacting with people, but it is a lot of stress. I'm also very glad that recently I have not been working and I have avoided the holiday season, which is my least favorite time to work at Disney because people get a little bit more grouchy. They have more expectations. Not that these incidences don't happen throughout the year. They do, but they tend to happen more often during the holidays. So I have missed that and I'm glad. I also normally do a ton of craft goals for the year, and I never make it. So why put that pressure on myself? So I'm just going to enjoy my crafting process and enjoy doing it. So my goal for crafts this year is just to enjoy it and whenever possible use what I already have instead of going out and buying new stuff, which has been the theme pretty much for the past several years. I'm sitting on it, but I currently have one sweater that I would like to finish before the end of the year. And that should be done. I have the cap sleeves to do, and then I have about 5 to 7 inches left on the body. It shouldn't take me all that long. But yeah, that's kind of like my direction that I want to go in for the new year. I think, and I don't know for sure, we're gonna see how January goes, but I think that I may be focusing more towards an actual carnivore type lifestyle, or as other people call it, ketovore, where I'm getting in some other foods that aren't just meat, but they're very, very rare. So I think that that will be my diet going forward. And it pretty much has been what I felt best with, is eating about 95% meat anyway. And I really enjoy that. It works really well for both Matt and I. It's very easy. We don't really have to think or stress or plan or anything like that. We just kind of cook meat or eggs. We eat so many eggs around here, which is not a bad thing. So we love it. But I do have a couple things in my freezer that I want to enjoy. Like I have one creamy, and I want to do a breakfast casserole that I haven't had in a while. Maybe I'll make it that of a cooking video and show you guys how I do my breakfast casserole. But it has heavy cream in it. So I need to enjoy it this week before Monday when the new year rolls around and I'm cutting that cream out. All right, so that is how it's looking for the first part of our year. And moving forward, we're just gonna keep working with Ghost in his training. I think at this point he has a wonderful chance at being a service dog and actually doing that for me. It's a long process though. It's going to be at least 2 years before I can consider him a full-blown service dog. Hopefully in a year, he'll have his tasks down and most of his basic training down. And then the second year of his life will be focusing on actually working in public and doing those things. We're gonna take him out to Petco in a little bit because we gotta get him out, get him socialized, all that kind of stuff. And then next month he will be joining a puppy class and doing that and getting his AKC Puppy Star. After that, we're going to work on his AKC Good Canine Citizen. Maybe if I can find it, I haven't found anybody around here that does it. I would like to do the Advanced Canine Good Citizen as well. These are just I can have that certification, just say, look, he's passed it. It's something to file away. It just kind of helps my case. I think this week we might start working on the very first step of one of his tasks that I think he can do really, really well at. We've been working on the preliminary healing. We've been working on stuff like that, standing, which stand will be involved in some of his tasks too. So he's doing really well with that. So again, we're just getting the basics down and just starting to shape those behaviors. All right, well, I have definitely rambled on for a bit. I will have a little bit of a grocery haul this week to look forward to. I think I will go ahead and we'll do that breakfast casserole recipe. And just so it's fun, something to show you guys that we can cook. And I will also do a what we're eating in or what I eat in a day video this week sometime as well. And we will chat again soon going forward to let you know how I'm doing towards my health goals. How am I doing with my food list of my no-go foods and my moderate foods and stuff like that. All right, well, you have a wonderful week, and I hope that you enjoy spending this time with family and that you are excited and looking forward to the new year. Let me know one of your goals for the new year that you're looking forward to. What do you hope to achieve next year as well? I will talk to you again soon. Bye.